We are going to reset now for game number 2. Vici swap over to the blue side. RNG over on the red. Kallista's going to be the first ban here for Vici. Echo's going to follow once again. And Rise on 5.10. Get him out of here.
Vici are no fun. They're taking away the Echo every time. I just want to see it.
Again.
Instead, they get rid of it. They do ban it 2 games in a row here. The Rise, another very strong champion. And the Kallista in particular, always expected to be banned away.
Yeah, has a massive ban rate, it feels like, in the LPL in particular. So you want to keep those strong AD carries away from the strong AD carry champion, I suppose. RNG thinking about their next few bans. Victor going to get banned again, so Hatong not going to see that champion. And I think Cassio was banned last time, so might expect that as well.
Yeah, the Cassio ban was the other ban. And the difference is, though, that they're on different sides. So maybe they don't want to ban the Cass away. You can force the pick coming out here from Vici of the Azir. You could counter it with the Cassiopeia. It's an even matchup at the very least. And it'll have an answer instead of the Xerath, which just seemed to have a massive impact last game.
Yeah, Hatong looked great on the champion. With the counter pick, maybe just felt comfortable enough. It'll be interesting to see where the Azir or the Cassiopeia fall to, as Alistar's going to be the ban there for Vici. That'll be their last one in game number 2 here. And RNG, considering their last ban, they know they have to give a first pick away here. Just a matter of what don't they really want Vici to not have.
I wouldn't be surprised if the first pick here from Vici will be straight into that Gragas, or prioritizing even perhaps as the Thresh actually getting banned. I would say perhaps the Gragas, or they might even go for a top laner option here with a Hecarim again.
Yeah, I like the Thresh ban a lot. Marta
or Sivir
played
actually.
A fantastic MVP looking game, but yeah, as you kind of go through the picks in your head, you realize, hang on, there's a lot of good first picks here, and this is sort of what we've seen in recent drafts, is that the amount of priority picks is very high. It's not just 1 or 2 that are must first pick or first ban. There's a big pool of champions that you can pull from here. And RNG, as a result, might get 2 strong picks, but it's really a matter of Vici getting to pick the one they want first.
And they want the Azir from the looks of it first, taking that away from Zhao, who most likely, if they lock this one in, had a phenomenal Azir game in the last one, and was a big impacting factor into why Vici couldn't close that game out as soon as they wanted.
It got very close to just hard carrying the game, it felt like, at some points there. So Azir is going to go over there to Vici. Sivir, though, is locked in already for RNG, so Woosh going to get away from the Vayne, and Hecarim taken away from Dandy. RNG picking Vici's champions from last game.
At the moment, I'm just going to stop acting surprised by drafts that seem to come out here from both teams for at least the first 2 rotations, except for what they're hovering at the moment. But let's assume that that is a thing.
Yep. Rek'Sai, Gragas.
Welcome.
Welcome back. I was hoping again the Dandy Rumble could have been here, but instead it's going to be another Smite top laner here for Dandy.
You can keep hoping, mate. I don't want to see that.
Happened.
If he's going to continue to play jungles in the top lane, I'm going to let him continue to do that with open arms.
That's fair. I mean, we've seen, I think, Gragas support a couple of times, but unlikely the flex pick they're coming through for Vici. So, again, 2 strong junglers taken away. Does actually put MLXG in the awkward position of, okay, what do I pick now? Might have to default back to Sejuani. That's the hover, but Karma Sedge are RNG's next 2 picks.
Karma's been changed in this patch as well, hasn't she? Yeah, a lot more utility-based. The AP scaling on the W increased, and the differences with the Mantra and the W and the E have been changed. The Q still does a lot of damage, but what I want to see is if that is actually support or mid.
I mean, it might be support at this stage. I think that was part of what was aimed at the Karma changes recently, but I guess we'll find out with RNG's last pick as we move back over to Vici, who are trying to round out their Rek'Sai top lane Gragas comp. We've got the Vayne hover here. We've got actually Fizz already locked in, so Hatong's champion will be the assassin there in the mid lane. And apparently there's some sort of sale on Vayne because Endless going to pick her back into the Sivir matchup.
Endless is a very confident Vayne player. He has had a lot of games as the Vayne, but I don't think he's seen a lot of success when actually playing it. He's into the Sivir, which seems to be, from what we have seen so far, the favorable matchup for the Vayne, generally speaking. They always confidently pick it into the Sivir. That and generally a Thresh seems to be the other option here, but that's actually banned away from them, as we'll see what the last pick wants to be here from RNG.
And again, it's the same story with the Vayne last time. Woosh also played a fantastic Vayne game here as RNG going to round things out with the mid lane mage. By the looks of things, they had the Cassio for a second, but it seems like Xiaohu more confident in his Orianna, so we'll take that away instead. But yeah, Endless. This is the problem with Vayne. You always have to move forward, and you are eating so much CC in this metagame.
Hang on.
Wait.
Let's have a look at Vici's lineup for a second.
Okay. I'm ready.
Tell me what you're seeing.
I see Dandy in the top lane with Fizz, and I don't see a normal support, so I guess it was the Gragas flex pick here. Dandy's Fizz, everyone.
That is interesting that they have opted for the Gragas support when they had the Rek'Sai most likely going to be that top laner. Instead, They wanted the Fizz into the matchup against the Hecarim, which does favor the Fizz quite well.
It does. But don't worry. He still has Smite.
I wasn't worried. I was not worried.
He's still a Smite top laner. Dandy's Fizz versus Sky's Hecarim, because Dandy just can't get enough of the shenanigans here. World 6 gonna take the Rek'Sai, forcing MLXG onto the Sejuani after the Gragas pick away, which we'll get to in a moment. But a bit more standard in the mid lane perhaps here is it's a Tong's Azir versus Xiaohu's Orianna.
Xiaohu loving the control mages, likes the Lulu as well, so defaulting back to that Orianna instead of the Cassiopeia. We're having a look at the Vayne Sivir again.
Except reverse this time around. It was Whoosh that had the Vayne. Endless is going to pick it up this time around. And rounding things out, Mata, big playmaker on the Thresh, has gone to Gragas support with Liam going for Karma. So really shaking things up in the support role this time around.
Yeah, big mix-up in the support roles. Gragas and Karma, not a very common matchup, that's for sure. And with the Sivir and the Vayne, it'll be very interesting to see how this one actually unfolds.
I mean, it's not quite Dandy's Rumble, but I'll take Dandy's Fizz. He played it a lot in the jungle, was famous for it at one point here. I'm excited to see what he does in the top line with the Smite Fizz.
I feel like Dandy Rumble is becoming too much of a thing for you right now. It's
starting
to be a little bit overbearing with possibilities.
I'm sorry, sir.
It's limiting what I want to say in drafting phases. But we do have the Fizz again. It's another Smite, and I think that's actually the reason he can't go Smite Rumble.
No, I mean, look, Dandy can do whatever he wants as far as I'm concerned, but he probably shouldn't go Smite Rumble.
Yeah, no, okay, we'll settle with his shouldn't. He could, but he shouldn't. And instead, we've gone for the Fizz into the favorable matchup again. We've got a very interesting bot lane dynamic that I could get into, but I don't think there's any point because I want to know if they're looking to lane swap most important.
Well, we'll find out very shortly because we're about to get in game number 2. And we are back. Dandy in the top lane. This time around, it's not the Rumble that I've always wanted. We'll have to give that one a miss forever by the looks of things. But it is Fizz here, and both teams have mixed it up here for game number 2. We've got Gragas support. We've got Karma support. We've got Dandy's Fizz. We have a Gragas flex pick apparently here as well. And I guess to keep things a little bit consistent in recent weeks of the LPL, Vayne into Sivir once more.
Yeah, very weirdly, I guess it's standard up until the supports from both teams almost. As we have a look at the RNG lineup, you've got that Hecarim into the Fizz. Sejuani, Ori, it doesn't get much more standard and meta than that. And then you've got the Sivir, who's always a high priority, combined with that Karma. And I mean, if I was to describe that in any words, it'd be shields for days.
It is. I mean, there's got a lot of good speed here as well. I guess the question, if you look at RNG's comp, is who are they enabling? It might be Xiaohu's Orianna. But maybe it's the Hecarim that they really want to get going.
It feels like it's enabling the Hecarim almost completely here and just letting Xiaohu sit further back and just find the spot where he can use his ultimate, not forcing the Orianna ultimate, which is what a lot of team comps tend to prefer. Yeah,
I think they need to hold it almost as a defensive tool here for a bit of extra peel here or just protection. Xiaohu, though, is going to start his lane up against Hetong. Hetong had a decent time on the Xerath, despite getting solo killed, I believe, from some amazing Azir ultimates for Xiaohu. We'll have to see if Hetong is as well calibrated on the champion as Xiaohu was last game.
Yeah, we'll see how he actually performs on that. And we've got another standard lane set up again. This time it's not reversed, we're not upside down, but we are seeing another standard lane set up, and it's going to be a... I think it actually goes slightly in favor of Mata and Endless here at level 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean, Gragas support is something we haven't seen in a while. We saw a couple of plays on it, I think, in the spring season of the LPL. But again, with the Vayne, you do need to get your farm going. The matchup gets better for you once the lane keeps going. But I feel like we keep seeing people trying to dodge the lane. And my question is, I don't know who's actually not wanting the lane anymore. Because I feel like the Vayne is actively looking for this matchup, although Whoosh and Lei do hit level 2 first.
So what I think is actually the point of actually dodging the lane is that the Vayne and the Sivir, it's favoring a Vayne in a 1v1. But in a 2v2, it's always against the Vayne, just because the pressure that a second person can put down onto you. So you try and dodge the lane. You force a lot of weird map rotations, which generally come out in the first 4 to 5 minutes after the swap. And that gives you a 1v1, at least against the top laner. Or you might even find yourself against the AD, because there's so many swaps and rotations. So that's why most people tend to try and lane swap. In saying that, they're in standard lanes now. Lei's putting down a lot of hurt, but Mata has the sustain to keep through it easily.
I mean, Mata's very interesting here on the Gragas early on. Although a lot of what you said about Vayne and lane swaps makes sense, as Whoosh tries to go in, get some damage down, but the charges from the Relic Shield are going to keep Endless a little bit healthier here. But Gragas innately tanky. Going to have a little poke there as well. As long as he's the one soaking damage, you can see right now, not taking any poke at all.
He doesn't really feel damage, and at the moment he's even getting slightly aggressive. Hit that level 3 so he can drink all of his Graggy Ale, body slam, and throw down the barrels. It's pretty low.
He's having problems, but he does clear his jungle. I think he finished the Krug, so he's okay there. But here's the matchup we wanted to have a look at there as well. Dandy's Fizz versus Sky's Hecarim. And Dandy, we've seen his top lane before, expecting this Fizz to go quite well in this 1v1.
At the moment, he's struggling a little bit, but the CS discrepancy is about to go to him under the turret. So fairly even start at the moment. Look to see once the first buys tend to come out, this Fizz will start to pull ahead. Just because he has the challenging smite with his W, and the damage that he starts to put out in a trade is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is indeed. Is back in the bottom. Endless and Marta feel like going aggressive. World 6 round the side. Gets Wooch with the knockup. Marta tries to find the flash, but he doesn't have enough. And Wooch just takes out Endless there for first blood.
Ridiculous. The Mantra Q just destroyed Endless right there. All it took was a single boomerang to come out afterwards to secure a kill for themselves. And he actually didn't use a single summoner. He just died.
I mean, I don't think he expected the burst damage. Neither did I, to be perfectly honest. Lei, point-blank Karma Q there with the Mantra and Hatong. Now, he's the one in trouble. Xiaohu does not have Ignite. He'll chase him for the kill, but Hatong's there with the heal. Xiaohu eats a couple of tower hits, but he'll be A-okay.
Forcing the heal is still a big win here in the 1v1. The amount of damage that Orianna auto attacks start to do, especially after you get more than one, is Marta's doing his best to freeze it under the turret, but World 6 actually hit the minions. And kind of stuffed that one up.
Ruined his freeze. But Endless is here to collect the creep, so not too much going to be lost there. Is Xiaohu going to clean out what he can, using that command attack, move the ball around, and then go back home and get his first shot. And as Dandy, again, looking to fight. But right now, with the Rampage coming out, a little tricky for Dandy to fight so close to Sky.
Yeah, he's actually 10 CS down at the moment, so struggling a little bit here is Dandy up into this Sky matchup here. The Hecarim and the Fizz generally favoring that Fizz. But again, once we see the first buys come out, we'll see what actually changes in this lane. At the moment, though, RNG looking quite comfortable.
They are. I mean, Endless back in the Vayne matchup, getting first blooded, though, going to mean that the surprisingly aggressive Karma Sivir bottom lane dishing out a whole lot of hurt as Whoosh being a real pain in Endless' side here, freezing the lane at his turret and just zoning Vayne off creeps.
Surprisingly aggressive, surprisingly mobile, and with a ridiculous amount of damage in a 2v2. It's not really a favorable thing to be in, especially as a Vayne. But you've got Marta to back you up. You've got this massive soaking tank as a support that can do a lot for you. But again, if you're stuck in a situation where you're trying to break a freeze at the moment for the case of Vici Gaming, the Vayne's just going to sit there and take it.
Yeah, and that's what Endless has been doing. 49 to 32 CS. The difference already in the bottom side of Xiaohu. Get some nice last hits under turret, actually leading Hatong by about 10 there. As Endless again, you can see the Mantra Q. Just a little too much damage early on in the lane.
The pressure, you can just sit in the bush and keep control of an area and just throw out all of these Qs from there, especially with the Mantra buffing that to a ridiculous extent. At the moment, that 2v2 is starting to feel really pressured, and they're going to be able to put a lot of hurt onto this turret or zone them away from a lot of minions.
Probably even more annoying as well, just to add to all of the problems already. Woosh actually went back after that first blood, got himself a quick BF sword, so the turret's going to be feeling damage. All the trades should go over to RNG now as well. So the bottom lane, once again, set up to succeed. Woosh had a great Vayne game in game number 1. Going to be set up in the Sivir matchup this time.
The smart buy here, though, is the Vamp Scepter, at the very least from Endless, to get through the damage that the Karma is putting out here. Layam doing ridiculous amounts of damage, and they're going to be able to get through it. The question is, how big is the lead going to become here for RNG before Vici can make something happen?
RNG might have been moving quickly towards this first dragon, which is the other way they can try and get ahead. You can see again pushing down to the turret. Now it's fast push on for RNG as they're almost also racing to level 6 as the spell shield. No, not going to go up there, so Whoosh won't get some extra mana from the barrel. But again, we'll keep the wave here, try to trim it out, then push it back in. And you can see Endless has run back to his Krugs. He's like, I need to get farmed somewhere. I guess I'll take this jungle camp.
At the very least, getting some health back before the Sivir and the Karma pushes straight into the turret, because he doesn't even have enough time, to be honest with you, to do both of the Krugs at all before the minions are back under his turret. So the pressure well and truly there at the moment. Vici on struggle street well and truly, but nothing massive coming from it besides the first blood. That was just a very good counter game.
Yeah, smart stuff there for RNG, but continuing to apply pressure, not going too aggressive, as Endless will actually be forced back for a second time here, although thankfully for him, not going down. World 6 is taking out his jungle. He's got his Barmy Cinder ticking away. But MLXG going in for the ulti on Hatong. Xiaohu gets the follow-up there. Emperor's Divide is good, and the heal's out there as well. Now World 6 going to turn it on around to MLXG. But everyone's safe in the mid lane.
The engage was good, but the heal was up again, ready to be used, saving him there, and also using that Emperor's Divide to push them further away. And what was a great engage, and both ultimates being used on him to force him in a bad position, turns it around completely and doesn't actually die for it, but Rek'Sai conveniently there to make sure that there was no dive.
Yeah, good counter gank there from World 6. Right place, right time there for that one, as Dandy continuing to get pushed in by Sky. About 20 CS down, but will catch up as he last hits under the turret. Both of them building towards that Cinderhawk, so it probably means we're going to see that super tanky 40% CDR fizz that's the tie has been popularizing, and seems like Dandy's right on the train.
I have no doubt that'll be the fizz that we will start to see here, unless he wants to go for a Phage first, which actually does happen a fair bit before you even consider going for the Cinderhawk, just to have that base increase in damage and just the threat that you can provide. It's likely, it's not impossible either, but at the moment, I mean, it's very standard here. The only real talking point in this game thus far is the bot lane. Yeah,
I mean, the bot lane's been all action as endless. You can see him returning with a Bilgewater Cutlass, but pickaxe now for Woosh. And RNG are 30 CS ahead in this bottom side of the map. 10 minutes in, that's a ridiculous lead. Might have been, again, look for the Dragon, simply because their bot lane is so much stronger than Vici's.
Their bot lane is definitely stronger, but you know what? A full Morello Nomicon was just completed here by Hatongan. His Azir, if it's allowed to get towards the late game stages, is obnoxious and should not be allowed to happen. But yeah, he's getting there pretty quickly.
I mean, starting off on the right foot there with his Morello Nomicon already done. But you're right, we've seen Hatong's Azir go off, even in losing games for this player.
Yeah, he got a penta in a losing game.
That's so rough.
It's wrong.
It is wrong.
It's not right.
Well, certainly not, at least as far as the Tong is concerned. But Dandy going to keep CSing it under that turret, just collecting whatever he can. He seems okay for now, despite being in a bit of a disadvantage on RNG, keeping the bottom lane down. Poor Vayne, who loves to go even or better, is going very far behind at this stage. And MLXG, I think he's thinking about the Dragon, but right now, Xiaohu's coming back. He's actually finished his Athenes, so he'll return back down here. Well, World 6 going to be in the area as well, so I have to assume that we'll have a Dragon fairly soon.
You know, at this stage, Marta would be hoping that he had his Thresh available to be picked, and I know it was banned away, but I can also see why the Gragas was picked as like a drafting thing to take it away from MLXG. But this lane is brutal, and there is no answer to the Karma besides hard engaging, and having that pick potential from the Thresh hook would have been massive for this laning phase. Instead, he's got a Gragas, a very low impact support player without going all in with the body slams until he gets level 6, and even now that he's 6, the difference is too big.
Good spell shield there from Woosh. Actually pops his ultimate though, gets the towers, going to chase out Endless, but it's just RNG that want the Dragon by the looks of things, and I agree. Marta can't get anything done, they'll lose the tower. Endless will finally get a bit of extra CS, but RNG are going to be onto the Dragon.
Yeah, he just can't do anything, and especially against the Sivir, just insult to injury essentially, as RNG having all of the control right now on the back of a very far ahead bottom lane. 40 CS, the Dragon control, or at least control of the Dragon area. They can translate it to the Dragon anytime that they choose.
And it looks like MLXG is on top of it now. Dandy feeling a bit of too much pressure, can't actually join in right now despite the teleport as he's busy clearing minions out from under his turret. So no additional smite going to be added for either team. There is a ward in the back there for Vici, never mind. Lei clears it out with a nice pink in the pit from Royal Never Give Up. And there's Dragon number 1, easy as you like for RNG.
Yeah, could not be easier for them right now. They pick up that first Dragon. No way for a response to come out here from Vici Gaming. Try as they might, it would have been death for them 100%. Just because, again, the lead individually from lanes alone is big enough that it is only the first Dragon, of course, and it is only 12 minutes into the game. So it's not a far cry from a win condition.
No, not at all. I mean, RNG have a turret there as well. They're almost 3,000 gold ahead in this game at 13 minutes in. And you kind of said it already, that's basically just the bottom lane at this point. 124 now to 78 CS by Endless. Yeah, it's just too much here at this stage. And Sivir, we don't normally see her accelerate like this. You can see that gold, 1,400 gold of that lead belongs to Woosh.
Yeah, and even the top lane seeing a 500 gold advantage just from raw CS alone from the looks of it. It's very, very well done from a Hecarim into this matchup as well, considering they were relatively even until first buys. You usually see a Fizz much further ahead.
Well, Cinderhawk battles now on the top side at least, as Dandy is pushing a little bit better with that Cinderhawk effect. Marto and World 6 here as well. Flash Body Slam connects. Ulti there as well, but Sky just ultis himself to safety. Lays in here as well to try and save the turret, but Vici scrambling to get an objective.
They force the Hecarim ultimate, which should alleviate all possibilities of pressure, give themselves the turret. From here, they've got a very big deal of an Orianna to deal with in the mid lane, though.
Guys, oh, good ult there from Atong Xiao, who's forced to flash. Ulti back there, but does get flashed by the Azir. And nice play all around as well. 6 flashes over after ulting back in. Xiao's out of mana, but he does have blue buff. MLXG finds World 6 only. Woosh is here as well. He's sped up with the ulti, and he does so much damage as MLXG claims the kill.
Mata, what are you doing?
Might be dead here at this stage. Fish down for Dandy, but Lay's going to kill him. RNG will teleport back in, and this went very wrong for Vici Gaming.
That went haywire as badly as possible, to be honest with you. An engage from Hetong straight onto Xiaohu, forcing him under the turret, making the flash come out. But straight away, Xiaohu turning it around, knowing you need to respect his damage. He's got a ridiculous amount of it. And endless.
Yeah, Mothercode MLXG does go in there, will get the kill, and that's much needed gold for a jungler that was just too greedy in that situation.
Definitely too greedy in a very forward position after everything that his team had just gotten, but actually having to recall every member except him. So well done from Endless to know that he was going to probably go to his red anyway, but catching someone in a horrible position there, picking up a free kill for himself as well as the red buff, much needed gold for him. It's going to help. But he's definitely not ahead because of that.
He's still 60 CS behind as he cleans up this particular creep wave in front of him here. And I love what Lay's done in this game. He's like, well, I'm pretty far ahead. I'm probably not going to die too often from this point onwards. I'm going to buy him a Jazz.
Yeah, why not? Hey, I mean, the new Karma, it doesn't have much more in the way of damage. The W now has a 0.9 ability power scaling, which is kind of big. But again, because there's the support Karma, it doesn't really matter too much. So having the Mejai's, if that can stack up, the Mantra Qs are actually gross.
I mean, we saw already just in the lane, without additional AP items, they were gross there. That's pretty much how Woosh was able to get so far ahead in this lane, sitting at 1-0-2, 16 minutes in, and he already has Infinity Edge and Zeal completed as Endless goes back with just Boots 1, and it's finally the Blade of the Ruined King done.
Yeah, he does have that big item now, and that's going to be good. And it's not really going to make it possible to trade in a 1v1, which is what we know Vayne is generally good at doing against the Sivir. Instead, he's, I would wager, going to continue to split push and try his best not dying impersonation, but we'll see what RNG actually want to say about that.
I mean, RNG posturing aggressively. MLXG, even on Sejuani, has been constantly looking for picks, and it's actually got him killed in the enemy jungle earlier on, but RNG keep applying pressure. They're looking to take down turret. Sky looking healthy on the top side. He's got a good chunk of items completed already, although Dandy's not far behind either, despite the CS discrepancy that Sky has built in the top lane. This is sort of what we expected from the top laner here from RNG. A bit more consistency, a bit more carry potential, and the bottom half of the map has certainly been doing their job in the early stages.
Yeah, this bottom half has been impressing as well.
Ulti lands onto Hetong Xiao, who combos in again, and no flash all heal this time. It means that MLXG is going to claim an easy kill.
See you, bye, see you later.
Endless in trouble. Ulti from Mata is going to kill Woosh, but it's the support that gets the kill on a trade. I think RNG will be just fine there.
Yeah, I think that's definitely worth it for them. If you have an 80 CS lead and the kill doesn't actually go to Endless, I think you're in a pretty good position at the moment. And speaking of good positions, that's a mid turret as well.
That's a great rotation there from RNG. Able to take out the tier 2 turret in mid lane and get themselves 4 turrets now to 1. Drag him back up in 45 seconds as well. Woosh is going to run back with his shiny new Avarice Blade just in time for that objective. I really thought for a second we were going to get a Phantom.
I was almost, yeah, I was going to mention that. I was getting overexcited because there was a Zeal first, but straight back to that Static Shift Sivir, as you should be. Dandy might be trying here on Sky.
I mean, Sky's going to try and get away.
Oh, no.
Fish goes wide. Sky going to ulti himself to safety, and Dandy going to be like, maybe we should have got a bit more Fish practice in.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it was a point blank Fish on top of him, so realistically it should have just plain hit him. Went straight underneath him towards the Baron Pit, in fact, and just became a Baron.
Yeah.
It's purple.
It is certainly purple, as Dragon is respawning now. Woosh going to clear out the Gromp here, able to take that out. And RNG are going to move themselves in towards the second dragon. I mean, Dandy's Fizz is just fine, don't get me wrong, but RNG are playing this early game spectacularly, and 7,000 gold already is the lead just on the objective snowball they've been able to have from the strength of their bottom lane. Dragon number 2's going in there as well. We might have a much shorter game in our hands.
Yeah, RNG looking to make up for that last game almost, just trying to shorten the game's length. And they've found themselves with a massive gold lead at already 19 minutes into this game. And it almost feels to me like exactly what happened last game to RNG, they're doing to Vici right now. The difference is that they've extended that gold lead so much further that it's going to be near impossible for Vici to mount a comeback. In saying that, they've got the Vayne who's looking like they want a 2v2 still. Or even, let's just, actually, I'll take that back, there's 5.
Mata going in, that's a lot of people. Endless trying to get out, the ulti misses from her tongue though late. Gets
cover.
Bounced all the way back in, but a 4-man ult from MLXG. Gonna make it very tricky, and Sejuani dives into the backline, gets Fisho as the tongue takes her out. The tongue will die,
Whoa.
Endless will fall to the Orianna, and Xiaohu coming in down to the bottom side does miss the ulti onto World 6 by just the edge. Wooch will get the kill onto Dandy though, and RNG clean house.
They're going to be able to pick up that last kill there, Xiaohu. The damage from every member of RNG right now is ridiculous. They are so far ahead. They translate that into just a counter gank, essentially. Vici know that the lead is so big that they have to respect that. And they're so far ahead after winning that team fight very convincingly on the back of MLXG's amazing ultimate. Locking down 4 members, turn it around, and they can just freely tank this turret and take that down
Sky's
as well.
been tanking about 10 tower shots in a row. But with the help of Xiaohu, Woosh is able to take out the turret with the rest of his friends. And this is sort of what we think about when we look at a winning RNG game. They're playing crisp in the mid game, capitalizing on the early advantage. But it's just strong landing that got them here. Everyone from RNG is a significant CS lead ahead of their lane opponent, and have just outlaned them here. And honestly, these are, again, the type of players we expect. Very mechanically strong. Kind of solo queue superstars in a couple of ways, but a team that's still learning to play together. So when we talk about these guys having strong mechanics, this is how much they can dominate a laning phase.
Yeah, most of the time when you see an RNG victory, it will be translated from an amazing early game from at least one of the lanes. In this case, though, all 3 of them very comfortable at the moment. It's almost like putting Sky in has changed the dynamic of this top lane completely.
It seems to have changed a lot as MLXG not caught here. Going to catch him instead. Hatong coming through. World 6 going to get Shockwave there. And that's 2 kills for Siva already as Dandy is ported his way back in. But I think he regrets a lot of his decisions this time around. Going to get out with the troll pole, though. He will be chased out by the looks of things. MLXG, Arctic Assault in. Fish going to find through. Woosh going to shield it up. No, doesn't need to. And Dandy tries, but he can't get the kill.
He's not going to be able to pick up the kill. In the meanwhile...
Yeah, Endless trying to outplay them. Xiaohu does juke them away, but Sky with the damage. Xiaohu follows in, and Endless had nothing there.
He disappeared in about a second flat, I would say. They're going to be able to successively pick up 2 victorious skirmishes, not full team fights, in 2 different areas. They can turn that straight away into the Baron. As you can see, the shield comp right now from exclusively a Siva. Having the from Akama, sorry. Having the Mejai's has been quite relevant at the moment.
I mean, Lei's got plenty of stacks, so he's going to be calling worth. That's for sure there. But the Luden Zaka Orianna, I saw him going for it, but I didn't realize he just finished it. He's level 15.
Yeah.
Tong's 13. And you saw the damage he did in that last little exchange.
It's pretty bad. I mean, like, that's a lot of damage.
It is.
It's gross.
It is gross. And it's a credit to RNG's strong laning that they're able to do this to a team like Vici. Honestly, have fine laners. Like, sure, new players, new to the role maybe for Dandy, and just new players in general here for Endless. Hatong maybe as well has never been the strongest laner. But Vici had a great game 1 here. I'm not willing to believe that it's just Sky that's changed so much, even though he has had a great game here. RNG, got ahead in every step of this game, and they've only carried that momentum. So again, this is what the team can do. If they take away this game, they'll just be thinking, why don't we do this more often?
Yeah, and again, they do like to unlock a particular member from the strong laning. In this case, just to reiterate one more time, is that they've actually unlocked everyone, and this is why it's starting to seem like it's just this ridiculously easy game for them to close out. Small mistakes, small laning errors essentially here from the side of Vici Gaming has put them into a very bad position. So bad, in fact, that Sky does not care about turrets at all.
I mean, I don't think RNG care about anything at this stage. Just going to pop the ulti and charge their way in.
That's fast.
Don't get a kill. It is fast as Endless and Mata are both trying to find their way back in. They get one. That inhib's already dead at 23 minutes. Going to make it maybe 2 in the base at 24. And they're just face tanking. They're so tanky at this stage of the game. It just doesn't matter at all as RNG. 2 inhibitors in 24 minutes.
I get it. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Nice.
Well done.
That was a mistake, wasn't it?
Nope. That was very intentional.
Oh, I'll pay it.
Xiaohu coming. No, Hetong. Ultis, but not going to follow in. Dandy fishes onto Sky, but he doesn't care. He's a very tanky Hecarim.
Like, you could take that base gate anyway. You have no chance of taking it now, buddy.
And they're going to go back down to the bottom side and just collect a bit more. Get the ulti onto Mata, though. They're going to teleport back in as Sky is already in there with a home guard and Endless. Goodbye!
Oh, my God.
Flashes out of the way. Sky's going to keep chasing, and I don't think Endless can run drop
He's
far
got a base
enough.
gate.
He does have a gate, and MLXG kills Dandy, though. And on the other backside, it's just a massacre in the team fight. Not even really a team fight there. Sky finally kills Endless just to be like rubbing it in the face. Hetong as well, going to flash out of the way and try and get himself to safety, but he's going to get hunted down by everyone else from RNG. 18 kills to 3 in under 25 minutes. RNG have dominated Vici.
They are basically just on the hunt right now, trying to find every kill that they can, utilizing that team comp to a T. They've got the Sivir ultimate, they've got the Karma with the shields, they've even got a talisman from that Karma. They're just so far ahead that they are basically having fun at the moment, trying to find all of the kills that they can, and they're trying to close out the game now.
Well, it's no fun and games at this point. It's just going to be a win as RNG in 25 minutes flat almost just bust Vici there in game number 2. It only took a couple small advantages. Whoosh made a big one in the bottom side, and then everybody else got lifted. And Hetong on your screen, you can see he is not a happy looking man.
Now, I said it last game and I'll say it this game. The only time I was an advocate of Vayne was the last game. This game, all we saw was a Sivir and a Karma completely rolling over them, translating that lead across the entire map.
And that Sivir Karma lane was awesome from RNG. You thought Sivir's Boomerang Blade was enough damage when you have maybe a hook champion coming in to combine it in. That Karma Q turned that first part around, so much so that we'd noted Endless didn't have time to use his summoners before he died. And that was all RNG needed to roll over the rest of that game.
Yeah, and all it took was that one kill, and suddenly the bottom lane was a massacre completely. It was horrendous to watch. And on the back of a 57-minute game where they did go down, part of you thinks like RNG might have been struggling a little bit with mentality coming into the second game. Not at all. They turned that game around on its head. They win in 25 minutes in convincing fashion.
Very convincing, dominating almost there. We talked about one-sided games earlier in the evening. That's one of the most one-sided games I've ever seen RNG play, and that's good. If this is the sort of thing we can expect more of from this team, this is why people think they're scary, because their players are this good when they're able to play at this level.
Yeah, if the players can work in solo lanes, essentially, and just get ahead doing what they do best, and that is be extremely good solo queue players that are good at laning, and then translating a lane lead into the rest of the game. If they're able to do that and not do what happened to them in the first game, and that was get rotated on completely, then they can just unleash the beast on anyone.
And I think for me, the fact that RNG got so far ahead, but then won so quickly, it's sort of saying to me that, especially after game 1, where they jockeyed for position, but just couldn't close it out against maybe a more experienced team, especially with the likes of Dandy and Mata, RNG are on the way to becoming more of that team, the actual team, the 5-man unit that can play together and win games. They need to do more of that. They do get the split of the series in the end there, but they'll take the point. They deserve it.
Oh, they definitely deserve it. I mean, if the average game is around 34 minutes and they can close one out in 25, that is a sign of a team that knows how to play when they're ahead. From the first game as well, we've seen glimpses of them being able to competently fight in team fights as 5. We've seen very good moments from this RNG side.
We have it. It's been a great series for them. Vici, unfortunately, can't quite stitch 3 points together, so we'll split this series 1-1 between the two. But don't go too far away. We'll throw it a quick break, but when we go back, LGD are taking on Invictus.